Hey, Wedding Confessionals listeners, it's Brooke, just coming in early to remind you that this is actually the second part of our fun conversation with Cheryl Massingill of the Old Maids Podcast. So if you haven't heard part one and want to learn a little bit more about Cheryl, jump back to episode 58, not the episode previously before this, because we cut it on half and shoved in a royal wedding recap in between. So hop back to episode 58 to hear part one of our convo with Cheryl to learn a little bit more about her history with weddings. And if you have already listened to part one, well, enjoy part two where we get into some wedding confessionals.
Something borrowed, something blue. Give us all your juicy news, sensational, irrational. It's Wedding Confessionals.
I think, though, we're ready to hop into the confessionals.
I think so.
We get you.
Sweet.
We feel you.
Yeah.
And we support you.
Yes.
Thank you. That's what I need in two MCs for my wedding. So that's great.
So now we're going to start the wedding actual confessionals.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to read the listeners' submitted confessionals, all anonymous, all in hopefully good fun, maybe a little bit of ranting.
We shall see.
Yes. So Pam, do you want to go first?
I do.
Okay. Hit me.
This is a long one.
Oh, good.
Be
Because I don't
prepared.
like when you give me the long ones.
I don't.
I
I
get
don't
nervous.
for you. Yeah.
I know. I appreciate that.
I look out for you, Brooke.
Thanks, Boo.
All right. Dear Wedding Confessionals, I just want to say I love the podcast.
Well, then we love this
Yay,
confessional.
Thank you. Yes. I'm not sure if you've ever explored the topic of copycat brides/weddings, but I am in a situation where I'm dealing with just that. I've been married now almost 2 years. I planned my wedding pretty much by myself with some help from my mom. Overall, I was so proud of my accomplishment and happy with how the day turned out. Hands down the best day of my life. Well, now my best friend is getting married and I'm returning the favor of being in her wedding. While I love my friend, I've noticed in the past 5 years or so, she's been subtly copying things that I do. I get a new car, she gets one. I bought a house, she buys one. I get a dog, she gets one too. The list goes on. If I have it, she's got to have it too. I've been patient with this behavior for some time now, and she's getting married and it's gotten out of control. Long story short, she's copying much of my wedding, from the dress to the rehearsal dinner, right down to the gifts I gave my bridal party. She's changed some aspects like the color, but that's where the differences stop. Now, I get that weddings in many aspects can be similar. However, it annoys me as I put so much effort into planning my big day, and she's just turning around and copying it and pasting my vision onto hers. To make matters worse, she never acknowledged that she even liked anything about my wedding. I actually recall while I was planning, she mentioned some things I did were not her taste, but yet now she suddenly has amnesia and claims she's always enjoyed them. If I mention this fact, she claims to forget what I had at mine. I doubt it, because she's asked to use several items from my wedding. I want to be happy for her, but it's just downright annoying to watch somebody copy your labor of love and try to pass it off as their own. I want her to enjoy her day, but I also want hers to be her vision, not mine. Imitation is supposed to be flattery, but I'm not enthused. I always thought my day would be uniquely my own, but now I feel like she's gone too far. Is this something even worth addressing deeper, or should I just continue to ignore it and move on? From not cool with the copycat. Wow.
So I'm just going to start by saying that I think that the letter writer is trying to ask us for permission to get into a fight with her friend. I'm pissed. Can I bring this up? That's really, that's the condensed wine reduction sauce.
That's the Reader's Digest version.
That's the drunken pasta.
That's the drunken pasta and stuff that's left after we pull out the noodles.
Okay.
That's
the log
what
line.
she wants to know.
Yeah.
So we don't have to answer that right away because I want to walk through this for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's the real question. Can I start a fight with my friend?
That she's in her wedding.
Oh, yeah, she's in it. Yeah.
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 Okay. So, Cheryl, thoughts?
Oh boy. Well, I mean, I think
Oh,
the thing that's really hard. Sorry, let me try that Beth impression again. Oh boy. I think I totally understand. Like, I'm someone who really wants to be original and then fears when I'm not original, and then also thinks like, is really anything that any of us could do in a wedding actually original anyway? You know, like it's lots of copying what other people have done. Like wearing white to your wedding is copying like every other bride, you know? So there's like a certain amount where like, it's not actually going to be original, but like, it sounds like probably a lot of like passive aggressive comments have happened at this point, and I despise passive aggression so much, where it's like, oh, interesting that you gave this gift. I seem to remember, like lots of like roundabout ways. And so I guess I feel like I think she just does have to let it go though, because unless she's going to have like a direct conversation, then it's like, unless you're straight up going to be like, hey, I did these things and this bothers me. Like, otherwise you can't just keep saying these like weird passive aggressive comments until after she's, I don't know, names her child the same thing you name your child, or I don't know.
Ooh. Yeah. Pam?
I have a little bit of experience with this.
Ooh,
Interesting.
Not from my wedding, but I had a roommate that did this. And she copied a lot of things that I did.
Like?
I mean, everything. Just from food that I ate. You know, we would grocery shop, but it's like I would bring things home and then all of a sudden she would. And she copied, and it's just, it's subtle.
You're mad at her for buying the same groceries as you?
No, I mean, you asked for a thing. Like, this was years ago.
Yeah.
But she,
I want to make you sound crazy.
I made scrambled eggs, and then
it
she
bothered
made
you.
scrambled eggs.
It got under your skin. It clearly, like, you noticed. You can't stop noticing. That's just kind of how it works, right?
I mean, it's just one of those things that, if it's subtle, it's very subtle. So, but it happens. And if it's a lot of things, then all of a sudden you're like, what the hell? What is going on?
Showing my age, but the movie's single white female.
Exactly. Yeah. So
I'm too scared to watch that. Is that a scary movie?
Don't watch that movie.
It's a little scary.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm a little scared, but I know the reference.
I'm a fraidy cat. But yeah, the idea of that movie is that this woman had a roommate that moved in and then slowly started like mimicking her and then
her life,
trying to take over life. And then like the idea was like to kill her and then just really take over her life.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Spoiler.
I mean, as long as she's marrying a different guy, I think then like, you know, hopefully she's not actually trying to like take over her marriage or anything, but you know.
But I've heard, I mean, with friends too, like you have a lot of similarities. That's why you're friends. So, you know, you do have a lot of things that you enjoy or things like that. So, I mean, yeah, I understand you did put a lot of time and effort, and maybe you were one of the first that got married, and, you know, I mean, my thing is, getting back to what Brooke is saying, should you get in a fight with your friend over this? The answer is no. I don't think it's worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a couple things that I think. When we start, this clearly isn't something that came up because, I mean, this is being heightened because it's coming up in the wedding. But I think, like you said, you mentioned the car thing and there's been a couple other instances. And I think that, how do I say this without shitting on your friend? You're probably a really confident person that knows what you want in life. And that's a fucking gift. And not everybody gets that. So when you're like, I'm going to get a car, and with all the confidence, you go out there and you know exactly what you want. You figure it out, blah, blah, blah. You're a go-getter. You're probably a type A, and you're a person that does that. Yeah. And this friend that you have is probably somebody that naturally is hesitant for certain, decisions or whatever, and is a little bit less of an alpha, and kind of sees you potentially as maybe you're a little aspirational, not to try to put you on a pedal, but there are times where you look like at certain friends. Yeah. We're like, wow, she's got her shit together. Like, I'm trying to get my shit together. Like, and she did it, that means, yeah, I can do this too. Like there's an example in front of me that shows me real world example that this can be done, whatever it is.
Sure.
And to a point that's really great about friends, and that's really a supportive system. But I understand where you're coming from, where you're like, I did all the heavy lifting. I'm the one that did the
hours on Pinterest.
Yes.
And,
or, you know, with the car shopping or whatever else it was. Like there is a lot of that grunt work, and it's really easy to cut and paste someone else's idea than it is to create from scratch. It's always easier to edit than it is to create. Sure. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
And is it possible that she's doing this a little bit? Yeah. You're not wrong. It's probably that she does see you as a little bit of aspirational, or she's kind of drawing a blank at what to do and is like, well, that went pretty well. Maybe I'll just do that.
She just may be a not very creative person either. Like it might just be that, like, I think there's people who are really trailblazers, and then there's people who it's like, I don't know, I guess this is what I'm supposed to do. And so like she just may not be very like original or creative, and like I think that is the point where you like the part of the email of saying like imitation is a, you know, form of flattery is like, I think take it for the flattery. And then also I'd say like, are you right to be upset about this? Yes, you are right to be upset about this. It's okay if it bothers you. Like, and then also like letting us just say like, yes, it's okay that it bothers you. And also like, now get over it is kind of probably where it needs to be at this point.
Because it sounds like you're thoughtful enough that you didn't have this argument yet. You wrote this email to us, which means that you're mindful enough to know that you don't just want to lash out at somebody. You're like, is this a little nuts? Should I do this? Like you already have in the back of your mind, like you don't want to be hurtful. You want to be thoughtful. And I think that's really cool about you and really nice is the fact that you've been holding back so far because you know that like completely erupting on this person is maybe not the right thing to do. And the thing about like you were talking about, are you right to be mad? You, for the most part in life, you can't ever control your actual emotions. Yeah. You know what I mean? Emotions are what they are. You feel what you feel. What you can control are your actions.
Your reaction. Yep.
Yeah.
So it's like, have that emotion, get it out. It sounds like you're doing it right now on this podcast.
Yep.
You know, call a distant friend that doesn't know this woman at all and just be like, blah, blah, blah.
Let it out. Yep.
Yes.
Let it out. Put it in the burn book. No, just kidding. I'm just quoting Mean Girls. But
distribute it all over your high school.
Exactly. But no, but the idea of being like, I understand if you need to vent to somebody about it, and that's totally normal.
Yes.
But I don't know. I just think long term, I don't think it's going to help this relationship of your friend. That I think that you've known this person a very long time. And this one awkward part of your lives where you feel like maybe there's a copycat weirdness going on that maybe makes you uncomfortable. But at the end of the day, she's going to get married and it's going to be over. And you got to move. You know what I mean?
Again.
Like, then you'll be friends again. And then this won't be the conflict. But the other thing I was thinking about is that, Cheryl, when you were saying that this letter writer is clearly pretty creative and pretty inventive on her own, and that she's done all this, like in many different aspects of her life, has been like one of those people that just kind of, boom, I'm going to get this done. Let's start. Let's go. And it's like just the person that fires up the engines and runs. I think that you could potentially take that energy and help your friend who potentially might be flailing a little bit and be like, how can I help?
Yeah.
How can I help?
Yes.
I've done this before. I know what I'm doing. Put me to use. The other thing you can do, and this is just the selfish part of me that's thinking about you and how you're annoyed at this girl and how she's done everything that you're doing again and again and again. Let's be honest. When you were looking on Pinterest and you created your vision board, there were a couple things that you couldn't do, or there was like a look that you're like, oh, I'm already going in this direction, so I can't go in that direction. You could do your wedding 2.0 for this girl.
Ooh.
So any cool ideas that you didn't get to do because you can't do it all, do it at her wedding.
I love it.
Well, you can also
You know what I
steer her
which
in
then
other...
makes the vision a little different.
Yes.
But you know what I mean? If there's like a thing that if you went all silver and you're like, God, now gold's kind of in, like I really kind of wish I had gone more gold, or the marble cake, whatever trendy thing that you were kind of thinking about and wishy-washy about, that you're like, you had to choose between A and B and you chose B. Well, like throw out A to her, and then you get to see like a fun vision of something that you don't have to pay for. But you get to kind of see kind of an idea of something kind of, because you clearly have a lot of ideas. And all she knows is the ideas that you ended up with. She doesn't know all the ideas that you never got to.
Throw her a bone.
Open up those Pinterest boards, make them a little more public, forward shit to her, and just flood her with ideas. If you flood her with more ideas that aren't exactly your wedding, maybe that'll really help her, because maybe right now she doesn't have a lot of options. And even if she has the exact same wedding than you,
it's okay.
It's kind of corny. It's also, by the way, an episode of The Office. So
yes, I was thinking about that too. Yes.
Right?
Pam's wedding that never happened to Roy was then Phyllis and Vance
from Vance Refrigerator Repair.
Yes.
And it was like the same invitation and like the same dress. And Pam was sitting there pissed because she never even got to do that wedding.
Yeah.
You know, and so then she's like, I planned this wedding that never happened. And now this other chick is doing it. Yeah.
Find that episode. I will, in the show notes, link to that episode for all the listeners, but specifically you, so that you can watch it and laugh at how you feel for Pam very much. But I think you're a super creative person. And I think at the heart of it, you want to be a good friend. And listen, our friends piss us off sometimes. That's just the nature of humans. Like, your friend might be a little bit of a bonehead. She might be realizing that she's rubbing you the wrong way. You've known this person a long time. I don't want you to blow up this relationship over this.
Yeah.
Find a way to empower your friend.
Yeah.
Right?
And everyone needs a good brainstormer. Like, I like helping people brainstorm, like we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
And I'm imagining that you do too. I'm thinking you probably are really creative and love brainstorming. And I think just even offering someone to bounce ideas off of can be a really helpful role in a wedding. And so, just go for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Watch The Office.
Yes.
Great.
In conclusion, watch The Office.
In conclusion, The Office is a good watch. In case you didn't know from all the Emmys and the millions of views they've had. Whatever.
Yeah. You heard it here first.
Thank God we're here to keep The Office afloat.
There's this a little show. You may not have heard of it. It's called The Office.
Right. Well, actor Steve Carell. I don't know if you know him. Okay, I'm going to do story number 2.
All right. Breaks up.
Number 2. Dear Wedding Confessionals, I need some help. I'm engaged to be married and really want a wedding. It doesn't have to be big, but I really don't want to elope, and neither does my fiance. So what's my issue? It's my family. They all basically hate each other. I wish I was exaggerating, but it's just the truth. No one gets along, and a wedding is not going to change that. And what about my fiance's family? Well, they're all wonderful, loving, and kind, so I'm grateful for them. They said they'd support any decision we make about the wedding. I just don't know what to do, because I want my family to be at my wedding, but I don't want it to be about them or their feuds. I'm sorry, feud, and then in parentheses, the S. So, plural. Yeah, definitely feuds. But it would be easier to not invite them, I think. But then that would cause more issues and tensions. So eloping really is the best option, but I don't want my fiance's family to miss out on our wedding just because my family are a-holes. Ugh. See what I mean? There's no easy way out of this that I can see. Do you have any ideas on how to get out of this one? From Stuck Between a Rock and a Hard Place.
Ugh. Oh my goodness.
First of all, I just want to throw out there that sometimes family sucks, and I'm sorry.
I know.
And you don't pick them, and sometimes it works out, and sometimes it doesn't.
Sometimes they're a-holes.
Sometimes
and also,
they're a-holes.
Congratulations on getting awesome in-laws. Like, what an
right?
exciting future.
Yes.
Yeah.
To marry
Your
someone
fiance
who has
sounds
a great
like
family. That's really exciting.
Yeah, your fiance sounds like a delight, and his family's sweet, and at least you're not adding more drama to your life. And also, your fiance is a total sweetheart for being like, "This is your family, okay?"
I know. Yeah.
Drama.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
What do we think? So Okay, so the main question that we'll have to answer at the end is, should we elope or should we have a wedding? That's traditional, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okie dokie. What
is tough.
We think?
This is tough because I think, we always say, have the wedding that you want. Have the wedding that you want. If you want a wedding, have the wedding. If you want to elope, elope. Like, it's about you and your husband. Do I think that if you don't invite your family, that will make your day go easier? Sure, but it might make the rest of your life harder. So, I mean, I think this is tough. I mean, there's options where you can maybe have the ceremony just between the two of you. You're not necessarily eloping, but you can have the ceremony and then have, you know, a party like reception that's a little more low key and less wedding-y. So there's no, no sides to sit down and no table places, and you can have it buffet. You can have a little more casual. So you're still getting, some of the same elements of having a wedding, but it's not as formal. So there's less, less things for people to get upset about. Because I think that's one of the things that they might be worried about.
Yeah. Who's the bridesmaid? Who sits where? What role do I have? The hierarchy of everything.
Yes.
Thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, I think the first thing my mind went to was just several receptions. Obviously, this would be easiest if their families are in different locations, because then there's like a really natural excuse. Like I had a friend who had a Boston reception for her husband's family and then a Seattle reception for her family. And they were several months apart, So I think like if they're in different locations, that's super easy of a reason. Or even of like, hey, we want to celebrate in smaller groups with different families, or maybe that's, doing like an engagement party with one family and then like a post-wedding party with another group. Or maybe like, if it's something where like maybe her mom's side of the family kind of gets along and the dad's side of the family kind of gets along, then maybe it's two for her family, or just, I don't know, just I guess. And the benefit of that is like keep the party going, and kind of have like smaller groupings and stuff. Or like, I mean, if they're all in one city, it's straight up like ceremony and peace out, and like that would be another way to go, is like, because I could see more drama even happening at the reception than the ceremony, as far as like that's when the interaction happens. The ceremony, you're sitting there and you're quiet. But that also sounds kind of anticlimactic to just have a ceremony and not a reception. So yeah,
that's fair. I'm just wondering. Yeah, I'm with you guys that I feel like you need to have, how do I put this? You need to have a happy memory somewhere. And if sometimes something feels like a family obligation and that is just something that you've kind of like gritted your teeth and been like, this is just what's going to happen, fine. But make sure that one part of this is completely, purely full of joy so that you have that locked away forever. And maybe that is a courthouse wedding, maybe that is the elopement and then you do the whatever it is that can make it a guarantee no one's going to fuck it up. Because what I really get bummed out about, and it sucks because I've been there, where it's like you want on these magical moments in your life for these people that have always either let you down or been erratic or just been themselves, which is kind of an a-hole, to magically become different people because it's your high school graduation or it's your wedding or your baby's just born. It's like, that's not how life works.
It's not going to happen.
They're still going to be the same person. As much as you want them to put it aside and be the generic person that you want them to be, they're not going to be that. And if anything else, usually on these big landmark occasions, they become heightened versions of themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
So the last thing you want to do is be like, you know what? My mom's kind of a crazy bitch, but she'll show up to the wedding and be super chill because she knows that's what I need of her that day. The odds of that happening are slim. Your mom's going to be amped and freaked out and whatever like terrible traits she's already had before, maybe drunk, but whatever terrible traits or things that you don't like about her to begin with, they're just going to flare up probably more because you're either, this is a big day where it's either not about her or you're bringing in family members that she doesn't like, or I just threw out mother. I don't actually know what family member that you have the issue with. It sounds like a lot of them, but the idea being that what I don't want you to do, and it sounds like you're not, and in general for everyone out there, don't expect people that have always had a certain personality to magically become better people on one calendar day.
Nope.
It doesn't happen.
Doesn't magically happen.
So I think
Yeah.
managing your expectations. What I do like is that the in-laws sound really nice.
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
She's
definitely-
got to do something with those awesome in-laws. That's
Exactly.
gotta happen in
I
some
know.
way or another.
Yes.
And I love that they're supporting no matter what. You
Yeah.
know, if you want to have a wedding, we'll be there. If you want to elope, we get it.
I will say, if you were to do the courthouse wedding, because I did invite myself to a
You
courthouse
did.
wedding a couple years ago, so
Yep.
I'm intimately aware. But the space is pretty small and the ceremony's super duper quick. So if you just want to have everyone in the room, because in your back of your brain you said, I always wanted to have everybody in the room for this thing, you could do a courthouse wedding and then a series of receptions or a quick dinner afterwards. Another idea I have that came up while you guys were chatting, not that I weren't listening to you guys,
Oh,
I was,
yes,
but the
clearly.
wheels were turning,
Yep.
is that if the reception is big enough, these people won't get to interact.
Yeah,
If you invite
true.
enough people and you have the tables far enough apart, not only will they not have to interact, but you will be so busy with everything else that even if drama does show up,
It won't get to you.
you wont know.
Yeah.
I'm just
Pat
saying.
it. Pat it with guests,
I don't know what
like
your budget is,
coworkers,
but if you
neighbors,
got
just go for it.
a 200 plus space, you can make this work. And you know what you do
Yeah.
too? You pat it exactly with coworkers.
Yep.
You pat it with a
Yep.
lot of people from his side. You pat it with a lot of fun friends, and you just like, you know what I mean? Like you just squish the room, and then you have all these tables, and you just put, your aunt, Karen, who doesn't get along
Keep
with
them on opposite
Uncle
sides.
Joey, and man, they don't see each other.
This does sound like a wedding where assigned seating would be a good plan if that's the case.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're
You
doing
get
that.
a
Yeah,
table
yeah.
full
You
Yeah,
not want
yeah.
a free for all here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if this super fun,
Yeah.
cool in-law family has got dough and wants to throw a big ass wedding,
Ooh.
think about it.
Yeah. How super cool is this family? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, I've written them to be now wealthy,
Yes, you have.
just for
Put that in
fun.
parentheses on
Yeah,
the email,
but I think
yeah.
you either go super small and really short, or super big and absentee of your interest in them.
Yeah, I have a friend. I mean, fortunately, like, I'm really thankful I have this lovely family who gets along and stuff. But I have one of my really good friends has a family where there has been a lot of drama and really nasty divorce between her parents. And so I've just been so proud of her through the years. And first of all, I think she's done a good job of sticking up for herself. She was 21 and had a daughter and straight up told her parents, like, if you even let my daughter know that you two have drama, you won't see her. And she just like laid it out for them. And it was pretty effective because you want to see her grandbaby, don't you? And so I think that was really great. And then a few years later, she got married. And I mean, everyone came. And like she had both her parents walk her down the aisle. And she was like, as much as I agree in that in general, like people don't change. You like selfish people are going to be selfish. Drama people are going to be drama. I think also like she was strict enough with them that she was just like, you want to be a part of this. These are my expectations. And she just like, and they like both walked her down the aisle and it all worked out. And these are people that like had crazy drama. And then also she had a big enough wedding, like you were saying, that they could all interact with their pals and their family members that they did get along with and didn't have to like directly do as much interaction with the people that they really didn't like. And I mean, it all worked out. And then she got some fun friends in there and that worked out real well too. So yeah.
That's a good
That's a
point.
good- yeah.
Lay down the law.
Yeah.
And not
The
only lay it down,
expectations.
but really be like, if you don't do this, you're not invited.
Yep.
Like if
Yeah.
you cause shit, like you're out.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a good point.
I like that.
Drop the rules.
Yep.
Let them know.
Good answer.
And let us know how it goes.
Yeah.
Because now I'm curious. And I'm sorry that your family is annoying, but I'm glad that you're married into cool people. They sound fun.
I think what would really solve it is if Brooke and Pam were your MCs. I feel like then they'll just call them out. You guys could just call out the family members and be like,
Aunt
"Anybody
Karen,
causing drama,
Go
you're
back to
sit
your
over
table.
here."
you're needed on stage. We're going to hash this out tonight.
Oh no. That's
or
where Brooke
you guys
goes.
just like start calling people up for like you see drama and you're like, who wants to help cut the cake? I bet this lady does. And like just
Who is inept? Give them the knife.
You know what's really going to help this family drama is if everyone has a knife.
Right. Family members that don't get along, let's give them a knife.
Give them knives. Yes.
Yep.
Oh, God.
Oh, my God. Oh, my
Oh,
God.
no.
So stupid. Such a bad idea.
Oh, my goodness.
So, confessional number 3. So this is kind of unconventional.
It
I'm going to
is.
let you
Yes.
take the wheel. Go for it, Cheryl.
Thanks. I mean, this is my podcast, so I feel like it's only right.
Yeah. We're
Yeah,
going
of
to check
course.
out. I'm going to take
Yeah.
Ruth on a walk. I'll be back in 30.
Okay, I'll see you guys a little bit later. So I actually brought my own confessional for the evening. This is one that I actually wrote into another podcast about 2 years ago. Amazingly, I was able to find the episode where they read my question, and it's just because I have a good memory and remember where I was when I listened to it and was like, checked my calendar for when that happened.
That's amazing.
Because I'm weird like that.
I think it's like a podcast within a podcast. This is fun.
Yes,
Yeah.
this is very meta of us. So this event actually happened for over 4 years ago, but 2 years ago, I realized I listened to the podcast, My Brother, and Me. It's a Maximum Fun podcast. It's these 3 brothers that they call it a comedy advice podcast. And a couple years ago, I was like wondering if I had anything to write in. And I was like, oh, I had this weird thing happen at a wedding or around a wedding. And I was like, they would get a kick out of it. And so if listeners want to check out, what it is, it's from April 4th, 2016 is when they read the question. And if we get specific with it, I believe we are 18 or 19 minutes to the end of it. Hold on. At 42:46 as the timestamp.
Nice.
The episode is episode 297 called Justin Wide. So there's where you can hear, I forget what I signed it, Sensible in Seattle or something like that. But
Nice.
So this is one that my co-host Beth and I experienced together a few years ago with a good friend of ours. We were both bridesmaids in this wedding, and really there's a lot in this situation that, like, now reflecting on it makes me realize, like, oh, that's why it didn't go well. Such as there were 5 of us in the wedding, and the 4 of us bridesmaids, we all knew each other. We were all single and childless. And the maid of honor didn't know any of us and was married with a 2-year-old and a baby on the way. So, like, to be fair, that's not a recipe for, like, everybody just super understanding each other's points of view and getting along super well.
Yeah.
But at the time, I was like, what's wrong with this lady?
Like, I don't have enough life experience to understand this.
Yeah. Looking back, I felt like I had a lot more compassion because I was like, if I didn't know any of the other girls, I mean, who knows, But so I had offered to the bride because she was like trying to figure out who to be the maid of honor, and then like decided on this girl, and like, but I think kind of wanted my help with some planning stuff. And I was like, I don't care what my role is. Like, I will happily help with whatever. And so this maid of honor and I, first of all, co-planned the bridal shower together. And that was not co-planning with anybody that you've never met before is like not the best plan.
Yeah.
And then she and I we're both super into event planning and also got like super hard-headed about like our ideas.
No.
And it was just a little tough. I'm better at just fully taking the reins or like
too many cooks.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah. So that was already tough. So then but it happened and it was whatever. It just took more time than it was needed, but it was a lovely little bridal shower. And then it came time to plan the bachelorette party. And so the bride told us she just wanted the wedding part, just the bridal party to come. So that was easy because we're like, we don't need to work on like an invite list or whatever. So the 5 of us girls start this group message, like brainstorming. And this one girl threw out like, hey, how about we go like get a hotel room, like downtown Seattle, go bar hopping, crash at the hotel room, brunch in the morning. And we're like, cool. That sounds great. And then the maid of honor responded, and she was pregnant at the time. She was due 3 weeks before the wedding, and we were thinking of doing this like 1 week before the wedding. So she responds and she says, yeah, that all sounds great as long as you're okay sharing a hotel room with a 2-week-old baby. So she wanted to bring her baby to the bachelorette party.
No.
So before I tell you any more, I just want to hear, like, you get this question on your podcast.
The question is, what thoughts. Should we
how do we respond? How do we
so
respond
she
to
sends
this?
you an
Yeah.
email that says, how do you feel about a 2-week-old at the bachelorette party?
Well, it actually a little more assertive. It was, that sounds great as long as you're okay with a 2-week-old being there as well.
The 2-week-old isn't okay with being there.
No. And neither is she.
Pamela, you've been with child
Yep.
twice.
2 times.
So you, Jesus, take the wheel. What should you say?
Well, I think I said this the other night. Lovely pregnant ladies are hormonal. And she was probably feeling overwhelmed because it was 4 against 1. And she was probably, I mean, I'd probably feel, I don't know, if you guys didn't really know her, then there's already that awkwardness there.
Yeah.
So you know, you're feeling ganged up on, you're feeling hormonal, you're feeling you're about to have this baby, which is just like, oh my God, if she was that close to the end, you're like, get this baby out. So there's a lot going on. And the fact that that was an email that she received going, oh, great. So they just want to have this bachelorette party without me, because that's what bar hopping says, you know, a bar hopping and going to, you know, out. I mean, but here's the thing too, is that it's not about her.
That's what I was about to say.
It's not.
It's
I can
not
see,
about you, girl.
I can see where she's coming from, but it's not about her. And if that's what the mentality is, it's like, it's not your guys' fault that she's pregnant. You tap out. And you go to what you want to. And you go, like, if you want to go out to dinner, say, hey, maybe can we just like make it dinner early enough so I can go? And then you guys go bar hopping.
Or she goes to the brunch the next day.
Or the brunch the next day. Yes.
You do.
Go to what you
Listen.
can go to.
Yeah. You're that pregnant.
Yeah.
Come on, man. You know you're not going to shit.
No.
Like, honestly,
No.
like that was a passive aggressive email. You know
Yes.
you're not going to shit.
Yep.
You knew when you signed
Yeah.
to be this woman's maid of honor or whatever, that you looked at the calendar, was like, I understand math. I'm going to either have a baby by now or be super duper pregnant. So I'm probably tapping out on the bachelorette party. And
Yep.
that's okay, because I'm dealing with my own really big life moment. And everyone will be sympathetic and not expect me to be there. Because
Yep.
were you guys
Yeah.
giving the impression like she would be shitty if she didn't show up?
Yeah. I mean, it was, I think, one of those things where she like 100% expected that she would be a part of it. Yeah. Yeah.
That's dumb on her. But were you giving her the pressure that she had to be there?
I mean, not at that point. That was really just like the brainstorming stage.
Yeah.
And so what we ended up doing is like, so Beth and I were living together at the time. And when I was younger, I used to be someone who just said yes to everything and said everything was okay when it wasn't. And I've learned, like, when something's not okay, I have to say something, especially when someone gives you the opportunity to say, hey, as long as you're okay with a baby, is be like, no, like they're giving you the opportunity to say, no, I'm not okay with the baby, you know? And so
That's
but
not
it
a
was
good
so
idea.
Uncomfortable. Beth and I were just like staring at each other for a while, like, we can't say we're okay with this. We're not okay. And so what we ended up kind of doing is just
That's really
being
shitty
like,
of her. Clearly
Yeah.
a baby's not cool with being a bachelorette party.
No.
The baby's not cool with it. The mom's not cool with it. The people at the bachelor.
No one's cool.
No one's excited for
Yeah.
the scenario.
No.
yeah. And I even
And I
called
like
the bride because I
babies,
was
but come
really,
on.
I
Yeah.
know, I was really hoping, because you guys know the ultimate card to play at a wedding is saying it's for the bride, or saying it's what the bride wants. If you say this is what the bride wants, you win
True.
any argument ever. So my goal was, I was like, gonna call the bride, be like, here's the deal. Tell me what you want. What do you want this party to be? And she's so lovely. She's such a peacemaker that she was just like, I just want to have a great time, and whatever it is, I'm going to love it. And the most important thing is that you're all there, and I'm sure you guys can work it out. And it was like, well, clearly we can't, because I'm calling you right now. But
Yeah.
That's fucked up. She should have said, you know what? I'm
she
sure
was
at that
too
point
nice.
in her wedding planning also, she's dealing with so many fires that you brought
Yeah.
her another
Yeah.
problem. She's like, I don't have
Deal
time for
with
this
it.
shit. I have so many,
And also
like,
it's like-
honestly, it's a fucking party.
Yes.
I have so many, like, I don't give a shit. You
Yeah,
guys in charge of that
yeah.
dumb thing. There are 18 other dumb
Figure it out.
problems.
Yeah.
I'm fighting with my
Yeah.
fiance. something's gone wrong. There's some financial thing you don't know about, and something at work is awful, and like I don't give a shit about this goddamn bachelorette party.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
Well, and from her perspective, it's like, you guys are supposed to plan me this party.
Yeah, don't
and
bring
now
me
you're
a
coming to me
problem.
with, like, an issue.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think, like, to be fair, you know, it was like, okay, well, that strategy didn't work at all. What we did is we started pitching other ideas because I was like, let's get creative. Let's figure it out.
Yeah.
And we came up with, because Beth and I lived together. We had another roommate. So what we decided is like, let's do girls' night in. Still fun. If baby has to be there, baby can be there. You know, like, we'll just do a fun hangout, like more like sleepover type of thing. We got the other roommate to agree to not stay there that night so that this maid of honor could have her room and have her own space to sleep and be with her baby. And so we had this whole plan with that. And then it was like, well, I don't know, maybe I just won't spend the night. And so then we worked on like, okay, well, if you're not going to spend the night, then maybe we could do like this other thing later in the evening and just do more like a tame, like go to dinner, and then she goes home and then we go do what we want to do.
Mhm.
And then it was like, or maybe, and her ideas of what she was going to do kept changing.
Oh, dear.
And so we kept like adjusting to her. And then finally what we ended up with, and then at one point she was like, I don't know, maybe I'll leave my baby home with my husband. And it was like, why was that the like plan A? Like, if you're willing to leave your baby at home,
Because that's
then why
never
did we
going to
go
happen
through
if
any
it's a
of this?
week or 2 week old baby.
This
That's not going to
Yeah.
happen.
bitch. She's just overwhelmed. I promise you, that woman at that point in her life is just like desperately clinging, like, I want to do something
To
fun.
the fun, yeah.
And I'm
Yes,
sad that I don't get
yeah.
to do the fun thing. And
Yeah.
you guys are going to have fun
she's
without
the maid
me.
of honor.
And my ankles
Yeah.
hurt, and this sucks. Right?
All true. Yep.
Right? Heartburn.
Yes. Oh,
Oh my
yes.
gosh.
All
And I
of
think
it.
she also
you just
like,
hurt.
Yeah.
I just think she just didn't understand, like, you can't bring a baby to a bar, because even with our what we ended up doing is we
You
did
got a baby in a
In a
bar.
Sweet home
seriously, like,
Alabama.
there was a point where one of the other girls called this place that it was a bar that we were considering going to dinner to, and the maid of honor was like, oh, I'm sure it'll be fine. So one of the other girls who was feeling like very uncomfortable with this straight up called them and asked them, and they were like, well, yeah, the baby's under 21, so it can't come here.
Oh my god.
So we
Just put a lot of
We
makeup
ended
on the
up,
baby.
like-
It'll pass for 21. It's
It'll be
Oh
fine.
my gosh, right? Yeah, just a mustache or something, and it'll be good. Fake ID for the baby.
God.
So yeah, what we ended up doing, it was a fun night. The bride had a great time. We went to dinner. We took her lingerie shopping, because apparently that's fine for babies to do. And then we like went back to our place, and we did sleep there that night. But what we did is I hired a baby. This maid of honor finally agreed to let me hire a babysitter to watch the baby for like an hour. And we went to like a nearby bar. Like, let's go out and do one thing without the baby. And so your faces are so good.
I
right now.
hate this
Wow.
compromise.
Wow.
She should have just not been there.
Yes.
Just step
Know when
away.
to step away. Yes.
Yeah.
Just step away.
Yeah.
What she should have done is let you guys
Ah.
plan the rage fun night that you had, and then at some point pass the baby to her husband and like, I'll be back in 2 hours. Do a cameo, wave to everybody, give a hug,
girls.
do a dance,
Yeah.
and get
Yeah.
out. And then join you for
Yeah.
brunch maybe the next day. But like,
Yes.
come on. That bums
Yeah.
me out. Your friend wanted a
Yeah.
rage and she got kind of a dud. Did she enjoy it?
Well, and she enjoyed
She
it.
sounds
And the
like
thing
a
is, like,
sweetheart, though.
Yeah.
Your friend
she's
is the
so
bride.
sweet. She
Nicer than
genuinely
me.
just wanted
Yeah.
to spend time with us. Like, she just wanted to spend time with her girls, and we had a good time together. And now Beth and I just laugh about the time when like the maid of honor nursed at the table while we were at dinner, and we watched the other girls' faces freak out, and we're like, this is a bachelorette party right now.
Welcome
this
to
is what's going
womanhood.
down.
Oh my goodness. Birth control. That's what that is.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
That's-
man.
That's the opposite of a rage night.
Yeah. Oh, girl.
So yeah, if you guys want to hear the brothers' response, you should probably also listen to that. It went in a slightly different direction.
Very intrigued. Yes. We will definitely link
They
to
really-
that episode.
They really earned their explicit rating with this one. We'll just say.
Oh my goodness. All right.
Were they not as
So, heads
compassionate
up
as
on
we
that.
were for the new mother?
Oh,
Yikes.
boy. I think the thing is, like, it was a very sweet bride, and I think she genuinely enjoyed herself. And so it was like, okay,
good.
like,
Well,
mission.
that's what matters.
That's what it's about.
Yeah.
It's about us creating a fun night for her. It's not about, like, us having a fun night for ourselves, really. And so it was like, it all
Tell
worked
that to
out.
tell that
that
to the
new
mom?
mother. Yes. Jeez.
Oh, man.
Oh, man. It sucks when sometimes the right decision is to not be involved. You know? For
This
example,
is her first.
baby.
It was her second. She had a
Oh,
What?
fuck this bitch.
Yeah.
I'm out.
You know then.
All
Like,
the
I can
compassion's
understand.
gone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
Done.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm out too.
Boom. Yeah, because I was gonna say I felt bad because my friend Andy that was on, I helped plan her bachelorette party, and then was too sick to be able to go. So like literally, she drove up to my house, and I was like, "Hello," and handed her a bag of like penis whistles and Magic Mike on DVD, and was like, "Enjoy
Here you go.
yourself."
Have fun.
And like, could I have gone and just done like NyQuil, DayQuil the whole time and like been like a snotty, gross mess and like a zombie character on this weekend? Yes. But
Yeah.
I did recognize that I was like, this is really ruining the tone of the weekend. And now we're worried about my ailing friend. I'm like, I'll just tap out. Like, it's a bummer, but you know, this isn't about me. So it's like, let
I'm
me
really-
do what I can as a
Yes.
friend and then enjoy your weekend.
Here's what I'm picturing. I'm picturing you at the Bachelorette in pajamas and stilettos and a boa, just like drinking your chicken noodle soup and holding a cocktail in your hand and being like,
With an IV strapped to my arm,
Yes.
just dancing.
and you're like, I got this, guys. No, we're gonna party so hard tonight.
It's pretty accurate.
I see it too.
Oh my god! Well, that's all of our confessionals.
I love it.
We did it.
Woohoo!
We did it.
Ready to go on to bridal breaks?
Yeah.
Bridal breaks.
Woohoo.
For any of our new listeners, bridal breaks are just suggestions that we give not only to brides, but anyone helping to plan a wedding of something to do that has nothing to do with weddings. So you can enjoy your life
Yeah.
and do these fun things so that
Take a
when,
moment.
yeah, take a beat,
Yeah.
enjoy things, and then come back to wedding planning a little more namaste,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, mine's
ready
not.
to go.
Mine's a little chaotic, but it's fine. Pam usually gives a beverage.
Yes.
Is that what's going to happen this time?
It's a beverage. Surprise. It's a beverage.
Surprise. Okay, hit me.
All right. So my beverage for the day is because my co-host here is from Georgia. She's my little Georgia peach.
You said before we started recording that you chose this drink because you just came from a wedding that was in Georgia. You didn't even reference me. I'm
and then
calling
you yelled
out.
at me.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, well,
Yeah.
for the podcast, I guess I better
'Cause I
call
said,
it after my
I'm
co-host.
your Georgia peach, and you were like, whatever.
That is not what I said.
You said
Do you guys need to go to counseling, or what are we doing right now?
we're gonna hash it all
Marriage
out.
counseling.
She just wants
Right
to fight with
now.
somebody
Premarital
tonight.
counseling.
She is feisty.
I'm ready to go. No, I'm just kidding. You did go to a wedding though. We didn't even
I
talk about
did.
that.
I know.
Ugh, Pam went to a wedding. I'm so jealous.
I did it.
Aw,
Anyway,
yay.
it was fun. You
It was
said.
fun. We'll chat about it.
Okay, cool. Okay, sorry. What's your bridal break?
So it's called the Sweet Georgia Peach Smash. It's a recipe from Pizza-Zuri.
Sure.
And it is delicious. It's really easy. It has peach slices, some lemon juice, some simple syrup, and whiskey or bourbon, and then top it off with a splash of seltzer water.
I would drink the shit out of that drink.
Doesn't it sound so
Yeah.
good?
Yeah. That sounds really good.
Yeah.
Like
That
I
sounds
was
amazing.
in the beginning, I was like a little too sweet, and then he threw in the whiskey, and I was like, "Yeah, girl,
Yeah.
Perfect.
yeah,
Yeah.
sounds
Yeah.
great.
Yum.
Sweet Georgia Peach Smash.
Sweet Georgia peach smash.
Say that 10 times fast.
I'm going to try 3.
Okay.
Sweet Georgia peach smash. Sweet Georgia peach smash. Sweet Georgia peach smash. That wasn't that bad.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty
And
good.
after Brooke has had a few,
Yeah.
that's what she is. So there we go.
Ayo.
Truth.
Somebody knows me pretty well. So my bridal break for this week is a newer podcast that's out there that's starting to blow up. So I know a couple weeks ago I gave the suggestion of watching Netflix's revival of Queer Eye. And then another person came on, Danielle came on and also started suggesting Queer Eye from Netflix, the new one. So also on top of obviously the double down of us obviously loving that show because it's wonderful. One of the guys that's one of the Queer Eye guys, Jonathan Van Ness, who's the hairstylist with like the long brown hair, who's super funny. He has his own podcast now called Getting Curious with Jonathan Van Ness. And the idea of the podcast is he's only given 30 minutes to interview somebody on any topic that he finds interesting. And he literally covers what's going on with bees. Like the idea that bees are the population of bees is going down, like, you know,
It's a thing.
ecological issues of it.
Yep.
He will talk to somebody about what's going on in China. Like, it's just basically any topic that he thinks is interesting. He's just like, let's come on and talk about it. And he finds an expert, anything that he's interested in, brings them on. And the thing about it is that it's rapid fire questions. But he does it in such a way that he's so fun and cute and adorable that he keeps you excited about even sort of like what you would think maybe is a more mundane and serious topic. And he makes it exciting. And because it's only 30 minutes, the person talking is really trying to get out as much information as possible. So even if the person starts to lag, he's like, cool. Okay, jumping. Okay, I have a question about this. And my favorite thing about the podcast is that at some point someone will be saying something really serious and Jonathan's response will be cute.
Oh no.
It's like never a point where you would use the word. He's like, oh, that's cute. And it's like, that's not, I mean, sure, but what?
Can we have him run all of the political debates from now on? Because that would be perfect.
Yes.
How much
Half
more
hour.
fun would
And that's
this
the
be?
thing about it is that, you know, on the show, if you watch the Queer Eye, reboot on Netflix, is that you get this impression from the get-go, like from the first 3 seconds, like, oh, he's just this flighty, like airhead kind of guy. Meanwhile, he's super smart and really thoughtful and just his mind is going so fast that sometimes they can't keep up on camera. That's what comes up in this podcast. Like, this guy is a legit, like, super smart man.
Nice.
It's just the way he expresses himself comes across as silly, but he's processing things and asking really interesting questions. And again, he's just always curious, which I think is always a good thing to be because that means you give a shit.
Yeah.
So Getting Curious with Jonathan Van Ness. Podcast. Cute. God damn it. Okay, Cheryl, what is your bridal break?
I'm so sorry, but I have two. I'm sorry.
Oh man.
You don't
This
have to
was going so well.
You don't have to apologize to me.
I
I'm
know,
comfortable.
Pam, I thought we were going to be friends.
Do you want me
were.
to stop recording now, Pam? Is it over?
Cut it.
Yeah. She wouldn't let me fight with you before, but now it begins.
Oh man. Oh, and I thought we were going to be friends, and it's just not going to go down now. Here's what might win you over though, is the reason I have two is because I've been listening to you guys, being inspired by all of your cocktails that you talk about, and I love making a fun cocktail.
Ooh.
So I have one that's not one, and then I was
Flattery.
like,
I love
I
it.
gotta just share this recipe with you. So this is more of like a person to person, like everyone else can just listen in for a moment.
Okay.
But really, like, I just need to tell you about this drink. And off there, we were talking about gin, and this is a gin drink. And so,
all right.
So, I've been falling in love with making rosemary sweet in things like sugar and rosemary in some capacity or another. And so, this is a rosemary gimlet. I know I've talked about fun cooking stuff.
Oh.
It's actually super easy to make. So a gimlet, you know, is just gin and lemon juice and simple syrup. But what you do is you make rosemary simple syrup. So it's like this lemon rosemary sweet drink. It's so good. Making rosemary simple syrup is so easy. All you do is do equal parts sugar and water. So like cup of sugar, cup of water, couple sprigs rosemary, bring it to a boil, let it boil for 1 minute, take it off of, like, just take it off the heat. I'm losing all of my words right now. Just let it sit. Just let it sit for 45 minutes, strain it, and then you're done. You have rosemary simple syrup. And so it's that and lemon juice and gin. I would say just whatever parts feel right to you, whatever quantities and stuff. And it is so delicious. Oh my goodness.
That sounds
so
amazing.
I love
it's really good.
the smell and taste of rosemary. And when we moved into this house, we planted a lot of rosemary bushes in the front because they're low water and high sun, which is really good for Southern California.
Nice.
But Ruth loves to run around in them. And then when she comes into the house, you pick her up.
Like
she smells like a roasted chicken. And she kind of feels like one because she's a little pudgy. It's great. Yeah, but I love
say,
rosemary.
My little Gracie feels like a chicken to me too, so that's perfect.
Right?
All right, you're in. I like that drink.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Sounds amazing.
It's really good.
What is drink number 2? Or what is bridal break number 2?
The other one is a food one, actually. And so it's called drunk pasta. Just kidding.
Don't
We're
joke.
in.
Listen, we can talk about that drunk pasta for another
It's
like
happening.
45 minutes.
I know. I'm going to go home and make it.
Where we just talk about drunk pasta.
I'm in.
So the other one is actually from something that one of my coworker who I was sharing about, who got married a couple months ago, she did this while she was engaged. And I was like, this girl is so rad. Because she was just one of those people that was like, not obsessed with her wedding, and she was this engaged woman who was able to have conversations that were not about her wedding and like continue to be a good friend and everything, and it was really exciting. So about a month after getting engaged, she told me, like, you know, my fiance and I, we think it'd be really fun to try all the donut places in town and do like a taste test together and then decide what we think the best donut place is. And she was like, and we live at this camp. So we live like 45 minutes from town. We're in the middle of nowhere up in the woods. And like, so we are this like tight little community that's here. Like we work together and also we're like friends and neighbors and all this stuff. So she was like, it'll be fun to do with all of our staff. So we thought it'd be fun as like a little staff fun donut eating day. All of this, I assumed, was because I was like, well, they probably are having donuts at the reception. Like, that's an engaged couple is taste testing the donuts in town. That's probably what's going down. And then later, like a few weeks later, she's talking about their cake. And I was like, I thought you were having donuts. And she's like, no, why'd you think that? And I was like, why are you taste testing donuts? And she was like, because we like donuts. And it sounded like something fun to do.
That's awesome.
And so, like, totally unrelated to their wedding, they just decided to do this fun thing with their friends where they tasted all the donuts in town. And her fiance, who was like the sweetest guy ever, he actually brought them to us. So he went into town and picked up all these donuts. And then we like did a blind taste test, and we like tried each of the maple bars against each other and like discussed it and did votes. And like it was
fun.
Pretty intense. And it was at the end of this really big Christmas weekend that our staff put on. And so we were all pretty tired. So we just got to like sit around and eat donuts. And so yeah, doing a taste test is a really fun little distraction, unrelated to your wedding taste test. Like nothing to do with the wedding. And so yeah,
that's a cool idea.
Really
that is a fun. That's a fun break. I like it.
You have to tell us, what was the best donut?
Yeah.
Okay, so it was funny because there was like this little non-chain donut shop in town, and we thought like, well, obviously they're going to be the best one. And then there's like a couple grocery stores that have bakeries in them in our town, and then there was like a Krispy Kreme. And the Krispy Kreme, you could tell like so easily because it tasted so sweet to the point where you couldn't taste the flavor of the donut, which is why they're like classic, puffy, amazing one is really good. And everything else was just whatever. The non-chain one was actually the one we hated.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
It was so sad. I wanted
you were
it
rooting
to be
for
good,
them.
and it just wasn't good. But then it was just this random little grocery store that like, all the reviews online had said it's like a sketchy grocery store and has a really good bakery. And it's true. They had their bakery, like their donuts were amazing. And so actually for her wedding day, I picked up a bunch of the maple bars from there and brought them. And I was like, hey guys, these are your donuts. And so that was really fun. So.
That's cool. Don't discount the grocery stores. I would have never thought about grocery stores.
I wouldn't have either. Yeah.
That's a good thought.
Because they have bakeries inside of them. So yeah.
Oh, God, now I want a donut.
After my drunken pasta and the rosemary gimlet. Oh, my God.
I like talking about food. It happens.
Me too. This is great.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Man.
Oh my God, Cheryl, thank you for being on our show.
Yes.
Thank you for having me. This was so fun.
So I know we did it last week, but plug the shit out of your podcast.
Okay, fine.
Twist my arm.
I guess I'll talk about it. Beth and I have this podcast together called Old Maids. We're a little over a year in at this point. When we started it, we were both like super single, like no relationship or dating or anything for like over 6 years each. And so our original tagline was appreciating the everyday circumstances of being a single woman in the 21st century. And we would share like single things we did each week, things that like really made us feel super single. And then every episode we watch a piece of media that features some single characters, and we talk about like what are the messages that like our culture has to say about single people. A lot of them are not great because a lot of them present singleness as a problem that needs to be fixed.
Right.
And then
This is a plot device.
Yeah. So, but it's really fun then also finding little gems where you're like, oh, actually, like solid message here. And we love TV and movies. So it's also fun to it's a bit of a TV movie podcast, but not focusing on that as much. And then for our podcast, both of us did online dating and now are both in relationships.
That you met through the online dating.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, that we did specifically for the podcast.
Oh my God. If you build it, they will come.
Like this guy, I've just been dating this guy for like a month and a half, but it's like super great. And it like, I've just am someone who's super upfront. So like, I told him about the podcast right away. And then very quickly was like, hey, I'm going to be talking about you on this podcast because we just talk about what's going on in our lives. And he was he thinks it's funny and he's cool with it. And so like, that's the right type of person for me because I'm just going to share what's going on. But So we've kind of rebranded a little bit. I think our tagline now is like, we're both unmarried women, and while most women our age want to talk about their husbands and babies, we want to talk about the single life, and we still want to have on a lot of single guests and still like celebrate that because we lived like almost all of our 20s as single women. And then we are also, to keep ourselves in check, each episode we share something that we call puke worthy. So like what's like the most puke worthy thing that happened with your boyfriend this week, essentially, where we just like make fun of how pathetic we are in relationships. Because you got to keep that perspective.
I like the theme song for that segment, which is just bleh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's so fun. Well, and now my boyfriend knows about it, so if he says something really cute, we'll just be like, because you gotta keep yourself in check. People in relationships are ridiculous, so it's like
true.
You gotta keep that in mind. So
that's amazing. That's awesome. Yeah, you guys should definitely check it out. It's very funny.
Yep.
And I've been married a long
Super fun.
time, but I still really like it.
Yeah.
And it's just funny because also if you like weddings, the last couple episodes you guys were talking about weddings.
Yeah.
So like unrelated to just like happened to Stars Align. Stars Align.
Well, and in this summer we do a wedding series because you got to talk about weddings in the summer. So I'm sure we'll have you guys on for wedding season coming up.
Heck
We
yeah.
got to talk about all those wedding movies and everything.
I've already been pitching them. I've been pitching Steel Magnolias.
Yes.
I got dibs on Steel Magnolias.
That one's
so
yours,
hard.
Right.
Southerner.
Yeah, man. I got that cake.
Yeah, I know.
I love it.
That fucking cake. That was expensive and worth it.
Worth it.
Pamela.
Yeah.
Are you ready to plug our stuff?
Let's do it.
Okay, I'm gonna grab my little clipboard. Gonna grab my little pen. So,
Clickety-click.
Pamela, we like to quiz her at the end of every episode of all the different ways that you can learn about wedding confessionals and all the different stuff that we have. You ready?
Yes.
Pamela, we have a website.
We do.
It has a lot of stuff on it that's very helpful, including show notes to every episode.
Yes.
Give it little pictures, little links to
fun.
everything we're talking about. What is the name of that website?
weddingconfessionals.com.
We're also all over social media. Where can you find us?
You can find us on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram.
Where can you find those links? Because they're not all the same.
You can find them all on weddingconfessionals.com.
We do not have the same handles across board. We're sloppy.
Ooh, yikes.
It's because our name is too long. We tried.
I know.
Wedding Confessionals is too long for Twitter, so they fucked us up.
Come on, Twitter.
I know.
Fucking Twitter. We want you to send us your confessionals.
We love them.
Yes.
They're so fun for us to sit and gossip and chat about.
They're totally anonymous.
Yep.
And they're all in good fun.
Yeah.
If you want to send them to us, Pamela, where should you email?
You can email us at weddingconfessionals@gmail.com.
Or you can leave a voicemail. We will transcribe it. We do not use your voice because, again, we're trying to be anonymous. That number is 434-933-2663. 434-933-2663. Didn't even look at the clipboard.
Wow.
Look at
I'm
you.
just saying I finally memorized that
A
many
number.
numbers. The most popular way people like to get in touch with us is to go to our website, which is what again, Pam?
Weddingconfessionals.com.
And click on what tab?
Tell us your secret.
From there, all you have to do is just click on the little box that says name, write in whatever lie you want to write in.
Yeah.
And then the box where it says tell us your secret, you just gossip, ask questions.
Vent,
My
vent,
friend's
vent.
being crazy.
Yep.
She got a car, I got a car. And then you hit submit.
Yep,
And then we will take that question and talk about it
we will.
and give you solid advice.
We do our best.
We try. One of the places you can find our podcast is on Apple Podcasts /iTunes. They always want us to tell you to give us ratings and reviews so that we move up the list so that more people can find our show.
Yeah.
Pamela, on top of giving reviews, they want us to give ratings with a certain number of stars. What do you like?
That number is 5.
Pam loves 5 stars.
I do.
What do I love?
Stars.
I love honesty.
No, you love 5 stars. Let's be honest.
I love following your heart to 5 stars.
There we go.
Pam, besides Apple Podcast, we have a lot of different places you can find our podcast.
So many.
So last week we talked about that you can now find us on Spotify.
Yes.
As of literally today.
Yes, we have a new one.
Girl, we're on another one.
It's true.
Do you remember what it is?
iHeartRadio.
iHeartRadio.
Yeah.
Which is so exciting
yay!
for me because I used to listen.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I used to listen to iHeartRadio like while jogging so many years ago, but they just started recently adding podcasts.
They did.
And we on that list, yo.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, girls.
So we got Apple Podcasts, we got Spotify, and we got iHeartRadio.
Yep.
What are the rest of them, Pamela?
Google Play, Stitcher, Player FM, Podbean, Podcast Land, Podcast Addict, Podcast Republic.
Are you looking at my clipboard?
No.
Okay, I'm turning it away. Keep going.
Go ahead. I'm not cheating. You just ruined my flow.
You need some distractions. Go.
Downcast,
Yeah.
Overcast, Castro, Pocket Cast.
One more. It's not a bag, but it comes in a...
What?
It's a gift that wasn't in a bag. It was wrapped in a
Box?
cast box.
Castbox.
I was
There
trying.
it was.
I was like, where is she going?
I
with this?
thank
This
you.
is like
I'm
taboo, and
uh,
we're both failing. Taboo. I'm terrible at taboo.
I
Clearly.
love taboo.
Not good at it. And it gives me anxiety. What's the one with the ball that you have to pass the ball around and keeps going?
Oh, catchphrase?
So it's catchphrase.
Fuck catchphrase.
That one's fun.
Catchphrase is easier than taboo, though, because there aren't other words you
Yeah,
can't
that's
say.
true. But it's just the heart. It gets to...
You and Jenga.
heart.
And,
The heart.
Oh my
I
goodness.
don't like the stress. Life is stressful enough. Why don't you invent ways to be stressed out?
Yeah, but you played
Don't
that.
understand.
You played that one singing game that I got tortured through, and you loved that,
I literally know no one that enjoys that game.
except for you.
What's the singing game? What?
Oh
It's
my
some
God.
game. I'll have to find it. I don't know who gave it to me. I think my buddy Paul. And I adore it. It's like you have to just name songs that have lyrics in it that has the word that's on the card. And my brain just absorbs lyrics naturally. And everyone
Got
else
it.
is like, I don't fucking know.
Yep.
And it really
Yeah.
is just me excited at a table with 3 other people, like just glaring.
Being
Like,
tortured.
kill
And
me
like,
now.
when can we go to dinner? So we don't
After
play
5 more
that
rounds.
game anymore. I know.
Poor Brooke.
Totally. One more time, guys. No?
No.
God. I'm the worst. Well, that's it, man.
That's it.
Cheryl,
Thank you.
thank you
Oh,
so much.
thank you.
It was so fun.
It was such a delight.
And we can't wait to be on your show very soon.
Yes.
This summer. Coming this
Yes.
summer to
Yes.
a podcast near you.
That's right.
Yes, that's right.
The gang will get together again.
Yes.
So we will definitely see you this summer. And Pammy, I will see you next week.
Sounds good.
Bye.
Bye. Special thanks to Andy Schreier for our adorable theme song, and to Ramsey Millay and Brian Maylard for their technical support, which we desperately needed.
Want to make sure you don't miss a single episode? Subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Play, or SoundCloud, and make sure to give us a 5-star rating, or I guess a 4 if you're being judgy like us.
If you have a crazy story to tell or need some advice, you can reach us by going to our website, weddingconfessionals.com.
Or you can email us at weddingconfessionals@gmail.com.
Or leave us a voice message at 434-933-2663. That's 434-933-2663.
And as always, we will never reveal the names in order to protect the innocent and the annoyed.
Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
And if you're looking for those links, you can find those and more at our website, which you haven't figured out by now is weddingconfessionals.com.
See you guys next time.
Bye.